here we go. And welcome, everybody. This is the Withered Flowers podcast. I am your host, Auntie Laura, and with me tonight is Digital Girl. And how are you, my friend?
Just hanging in there. We are the weather of coldness, the winter that may be an actual winter in the East Coast. So I'm hanging in there and trying to stay warm.
Oh my gosh, we actually got snow last week. I think it was last week. So I'm in the mid-Atlantic region of the East Coast. I know I'm just a couple hours away from you, but yeah, I think it's 32 where I'm at right now. So yeah, it's been cold.
Yeah, the snow's still on the ground here. It is icy. You know what?
I believe it.
That is what winter's about, That's what winter's about, being cold.
But you know what, though? I will say that the only thing that I like about winter is that when we have, what we call, family time at my house, it's me and my husband and my cat, and we all get into bed and just watch random stuff on YouTube. And Taco will usually just sit between us, and we'll just pet her. So, yeah, I will say that is the one thing that I like about winter is that there's lots of family time. So,
family time, holidays, sweaters for, my folks over in the UK, they like to call them jumpers. Don't know why. That's another story for another day. But, the cheer is in the air, actually globally. So, the holidays are coming up. I'm looking forward to it. Do you have any plans?
I think we're just gonna stick around town. Unfortunately, the Mr. Opa, i.e. the Hubs, he has to work the day after Christmas, so we're probably just gonna do something local. But we're thinking about maybe going catching some Pokemon and maybe going to see some Christmas lights. So, I mean, either way, I think it's gonna be good. We're instead of having a Christmas dinner, we're gonna have a Christmas breakfast.
Always
And
a
we might
clutch.
do. Oh yeah, definitely. And then we might do something for Noche Buena, which is the night, Christmas Eve. My husband is Cuban, so his family usually would get together on the 24th. That's when I think they really celebrate.
Yes.
So I'll probably do a good dinner. Noche Buena basically means the good night, so probably do a good dinner for that day, and then we'll have Christmas breakfast the next day. So, what about you? What are your plans?
A family coming into town, and I'll be dragging them to and fro through these holiday cold, crisp streets. For Christmas itself, probably going to go and view the holiday spirit in the city because I live very close to New York City. Um, and then the day after, I think it's going to be pretty chill. Probably cook. We were thinking about doing a Christmas brunch as well, everybody
Ooh.
cooking and contributing, and then maybe making sure that my guests who are going to be staying at my house stay fed by actually cooking for them this time around. Because the last time they were in town, I did not cook, but I had good reasons. I was a guest of honor. So I
That's
was like,
fair.
you guys got to fend for yourself. I will provide you the ingredients and you do what you like. But this time around, I cook. So I'll be hosting and I'm spreading holiday cheer. Just really glad to be off and on
Oh yeah.
vacay until 2026.
I
So,
know. Can you believe it's almost 2026 right now?
no,
Ugh.
no, I don't.
I mean, it just seems literally it seems like we started the server and the podcast and everything just a couple of months ago. And can you believe, in February, our Discord would have been around for officially for a year?
Goodness gracious. Well, you know what? It was a big community of people coming together over their singular love of one particular webtoon that we're going to actually talk about today, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There is a
Yes.
lot to unpack with this
Oh my
recent
god.
developments.
It's
Oh man.
always some you know what I do love about this webtoon, I love about Tears on the Withered Flowers, there's always something to unpack. It actually is that complex that there's layered nuances. If you care to see it, like everybody, you can surface level like read the story or you can actually deep dive into it and like it has enough nuance that it allows you to be able to do that. And that's what really brings us here today, right? To talk about the nuances of this webtoon brought to us by the author Gay, um, established in well, this webtoon is what 1 year old as well. Like it
Yeah. Yeah,
celebrated
actually a year and some change now cuz I think
say
it debuted
yeah.
in June of 2024, so yeah.
Yeah, it's like a year and a half old right now. And it's from its inception and like release, it's gained both fans, critics, confused and ambivalent people, but people are really talking about this webtoon and it continues to drag more of us into its sphere as it keeps going. So it's always exciting to really talk about the nuances of this webtoon and how what we think because it's purely our opinion. We do not
Oh
have
yeah.
any association with Gainem as an author. We don't know anything about the author truly, and I respect that. But we love this work and we like to talk about it. So, today is our time.
Oh, yes. And like the biggest thing that I want to talk about, because unfortunately I was not able to make it to the last chapter discussion. And let me tell you, I really wish I was there because I have so many opinions about what is going on right now. So at the time of this recording, chapter 82 just came out.
Mhm.
Um, and I know it's been a minute since, we've kind of released some content. We've had some scheduling issues and, everybody's been busy, so we're trying to get back on track. But I will say that what has been really interesting to me is Taeha and his daddy issues. I mean, Homeboy is becoming unhinged. And honestly, I am really scared of what's going to happen to Jesus right now. With the way that it ended, with her being in that like sketchy ass place. But I do want to say, and I know this is probably going to be a hot take. So my beautiful flowers, I am speaking to you. Please give Auntie some grace because I have opinions and I need to express them. All right, so here is my hot take. So I know right now a lot of people are upset with Taeha, and I think it's justified because he has not said anything to Jesus about his background, about his family, and what that might mean for her personally. And
Mhm.
honestly, at this point, I feel like it's almost as if he's no better than Minchal. My beautiful flowers, before you go into rage, let me explain. So, what the reason why I say this is because Minchul made a lot of decisions for her and did not consult her. And I feel like right now Taeha is doing the exact same thing.
Mhm.
He is not explaining anything to her because he feels like it will push her away, which I get. However, by him not explaining what's going on to her, how can she look out for danger if she doesn't know that it's there? Number two, the other reason why I think he is like Minchol is in the fact that he's trying to be a hero to her, just like Minchol. However, at least with Minchol, she knew a little bit more about him up front. And with Taeha, she knows next to nothing. And when she has asked, he always sidesteps it or has some like witty remark. And he always plays it down. So I what I don't like is I just don't like the idea that he is trying to do the same thing, even if it's inadvertent, right? Like I don't think he's going out of his way to try to make decisions for her. And I don't know if maybe because of his age, and I hate to, sound a little ageist here, but he's only 24, right? And at 24, you don't know everything, and I just don't like that he is trying to do that. Like I don't think he realizes that he's trying to make decisions for her without giving her any information. I don't know, like I I don't like it.
I agree with you. So I want to say, like, I am in agreement with the role that he's currently decided to take up, the mantle that he's decided to take up in Na Hae Soo's life. Like, we already have clarity on the fact that he's been around for a very long time and he's watched Na Hae Soo over the seasons um continuously like wither in her relationship with Minchal because it was very stressful. They're saddled with debt. And the reason that they have this debt is because Minchal decided to take on this debt after spending what savings that he had to try to take care of both of them. Minchal went on to take on more debt in the name of Na Hae Soo in order to live the life that he thinks that both she and he deserved. Unfortunately, those decisions were not discussed with his wife at the time, not himself. Minchal made those decisions without her because he thought he knew best. Taeha, in the beginning, had it in his heart and his mind that he wasn't going to try to step into Minchal's shoes. He was going to try to help. He was going to be that, avenger in the dark. Try to make sure that she has a good life without directly intervening and taking an active role in her life, right? But somewhere along the way, he realized that, the relationship was destined to fail. And even if there was no such thing as success in the relationship that the current mold of the relationship that Minchal and Naheso had. It had gotten very toxic. It gotten very abusive. It was misery incarnate. And if you read this manhwa at all, and you get to the 60s of chapter 60 or so, you'll get to hear Minchal speak on his relationship quite a bit in the form that it is misery. When he decided to step into that role, his position, Taeha decided to step into Minchal's shoes. He had already made a critical error.
Mhm.
He had decided that he was going to overwrite every memory that Na Hae So had with Minchal with one of his own. Here's the problem. If you're going to follow the pattern of the past, you're destined to repeat the past. That is actually
Mhm.
the definition of madness is doing the same thing over and expecting a different result.
Yep. Very much
By
so.
and the critical error is not minding the fact that you have a partner or a potential partner who you need to listen to in order to have a life together. Naheso is a woman who's pragmatic, she's practical, and yes, she has experienced a lot of trauma with or without Minchal. Taeha deciding to step into the shoes and claim her as someone that he wants as a lover also comes with a unique set of baggage that Naheso cannot consider. She's not aware of it. There's
Mhm.
no transparency. So when
No.
he decided to step into her shoes, he also assumed the responsibility of keeping her safe, which he did a very good job of when he was not, scheming to take Minchal's place. He did a very good job of keeping her safe. He couldn't keep her safe from her spouse and his decisions, but he did keep her safe from people who were like random drunkards who would come in and harass her and cause her more trouble than she needed, right? But
Mhm.
he also comes with danger. Like he has a brother who with daddy issues who hates him. and wants him to die.
Yes.
He has a father who's actually made out of robot parts, who could also maybe, depending on how he feels, want him to die. He is not a safe person. So when
No,
you
he really
assume
isn't.
if you assume that role of protector of someone and you actually bring baggage that could be deadly, that could be, as Lee J put it, poisonous to that person, you're assuming the responsibility of making sure that person stays safe. And he has failed in that critically as of chapter 82 because he got
Yeah, he really did.
way too comfortable. Like up until he started working for his father at the company, he actually made sure she was safe. He made sure that like there was actually some security detail of some sort to watch for those anomalies that may come. The problem is Taeha already acknowledged that his father, at this point, by chapter 81, he had already had a discussion with Lee J about the fact that Taeju knows everything. Chapter 82, he took Lee J with him after asking Lee J in like the previous chapters to watch Na Hae Soo and keep her safe. So you're just doing sloppy things right now, and you're putting the onus of responsibility on Na Hae Soo to ask you for help when she needs it, as if there's some perfect situation where she can just automatically be like, "Oh, I'm in danger now. I can call for you." Especially
Yeah. And that's
that's
one thing
crazy.
that, like, really got to me too, because it's like, bro, I don't think you realize what you're making her promise. And I think
Yeah,
it's unrealistic to expect her to keep that when you put her in a position where she doesn't know to watch out. I mean, to be fair, Na Soo does have a pretty good head on her shoulders. She has
it does.
pretty good survival instincts, right? And, to be honest, like when I was listening to the chapter discussion, I know some people were like, oh, but, why would you go to, like an interview at night? I mean, to be fair, though, some places may not open till late. So,
Yeah,
in my opinion, it would kind of make sense, especially, if it's like a karaoke place. And keep in mind, I'm just kind of making assumptions here, but to me, it wouldn't be like too out of the realm of possibility for someone to be like, hey, we're mainly open at night. Why don't you come in tonight for an interview? Like, I think
that's
that's
not.
feasible, you
That's
know?
not and that's not like out of the realm of possibility. And I talked about this in our like, our discussion that was happened on Friday. I talked about credibility. And
Mm-hmm.
there's a concept called tie. It's like, a tie, like when Naheso tied Tejas tie and then yanked it. This idea of credibility through the lens of this thing called time, where
Mm-hmm.
there's transferred credibility, there's inherited credibility, and there is earned credibility. The only reason that Na Hae So went to this karaoke, and I need air quotes around this
Air
karaoke spot,
quotes. Yes.
is because the credibility that her manager has, that rapport that she has with her manager, where this is a trusted source, asking her if she was interested in a role, right? At this karaoke spot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the credibility that her manager has gets transferred over to the karaoke spot because this is a trusted person who also is trying, knows her situation, right? And then beyond that,
Yes.
when the conversation between her manager and her was happening, she had her doubts, but the manager of the motel basically addressed any doubts that she can have, like knowing full and well that this was a shady situation, told her all of the things to look out for, which also increases the credibility of the place by telling her, hey, it may look a little shady. Yes, it's downstairs, but don't worry about it. It is completely legit. Like addressing those concerns. And then on top of that, adding on urgency. So that motel manager's credibility could be damaged if Nahe so because they're referring Nahe so she doesn't go. So you add on that
Yeah.
urgency. So that the whole transfer of credibility from the manager to the karaoke spot, the inherited credibility that comes from her manager being the one that referred it, and then the fact that that credibility between the manager and that karaoke spot could have been damaged if she didn't show up, if she was a no show and they were expecting her to come,
Mhm.
made her go. Now the thing about it is people talk about, oh, she's stupid for going, but she literally didn't. Like, read so many mangas, so many webtoons where people go into a shady place and start looking around. I watch scary movies all the time, the paranormal movies, slasher movies where
Yeah.
fools walk into a place that feels wrong and they start walking around, and the first thing they do is say, "Hello?" No, Na Hae So literally was like, "I don't feel right about this place," turned around and tried to
Yep.
walk out, and there was nobody in front of that door at the time. No one was there, and she could have walked out, and it would have been no story. But the thing about it is she wasn't aware, and that is Teja's fault again. She wasn't aware that there was a danger for it to be had because like all she knows is that eventually some loan sharks might come for her, but she doesn't know a homicidal maniac is
Mm,
plotting her
yeah.
demise. She doesn't know that a yakuza boss knows she exists. Why would she know that? That is the responsibility, full responsibility of Teha to make sure that she was safe. Mind you, when it was Minchol, he had private investigators, guards everywhere, detail, security detail everywhere to figure out where Minchol was going. Now that Mitchell's still in the picture, he's still actually a danger. Not only is he a danger, but now we have Taeha and we still have Taeju. So the actual danger has tripled for this girl, and he actually left her vulnerable with the responsibility to call for help. And I was just like, what sense
Yeah.
does
I
that
just
make, sirs?
Yeah, it doesn't. Because it doesn't. And the reason, why I personally feel like, that it doesn't is how do you expect someone to call for help when they can't? Like that was my whole thing. And it's like I have a feeling I know what's about to happen. Like I kind of feel like what's going to happen is, you know, he he's going to show up. We've already kind of got a hint of like what might happen. With how man, I'm trying to think of how to put it. Like, sorry, I need a second. Okay, so I think what I'm trying to say is that how do you expect her to call for help when her phone is taken away? You
Yeah,
know?
because her phone is
And
in the chapter 82, her phone was actually in her hand when they were closing the door on her. And I don't think if they really want to keep her there and not have any assistance, they're gonna take her phone. That's just normal.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, totally. But my whole thing is that how do you expect her to keep that promise when, and that's the other thing too. Like when you were talking about how, he did everything he could to find out about Minchol, but yet you're not going to do the same for your brother even though, your brother is going
Hello.
to um is the bigger threat. Like
Mhm.
I don't get the logic, to be honest.
I don't get the
Like how
logic
do
either.
you but that's the thing though too, is that, this tells us, not that we didn't already know, but this just proves like how fallible he really is, and how, cuz we always want to make, Teha out to be like this dude that's got all the plans, nothing can ever go wrong for him, and whereas I can appreciate that to a degree, he's not a perfect character,
No.
and I know Lori Uchiha was saying how she could forgive him a little bit for that, and I guess I could too, but the fact of the matter is that, she tried to ask you about yourself and you sidestepped it. And
You
she
did.
was genuinely interested and knowing about you, not Minchol, about
Hmm.
you, and you didn't have the balls to be honest because you're afraid that she's going to run away. And I just kind of feel like you are just the little boy pretending to be a man. My beautiful flowers, please do not hate me. I promise. I do ship Taeha HAE SOO all the way 100%, but our favorite couple does have some issues. I mean, like the one thing that I really think where Taeha made a mistake was not taking his brother seriously enough. Um and I mean obviously he doesn't know how unhinged Taeha or Taehi is becoming. And I mean honestly like I feel like Taehi is about to go through like a psychotic break. And like the thing that I don't really understand is, I kind of feel like director Beck is going to be very disappointed that her son didn't show. And it makes me wonder if she's going to blame Taeha because Taehi didn't show up.
Oh,
Or is she
absolutely.
or is she going to be like, because I mean, I'm sure she probably knows that Taeha is only there because the chairman ordered him to be there. And in a family like that, you can't go against what Taeju or the family head tells you to do. Like if they say jump, you don't even ask how high. You're just going to start jumping. So,
Absolutely.
I'm really like wondering about like what's going to happen with this whole thing, I'm wondering if she's going to try to rope him into like some type of plot. I mean, honestly, I don't get that read from her, because originally I was like, okay, well, she's probably going to say something like, oh, well, I know, my son's not here and it's all your fault and blah, blah, blah. But like now I'm wondering if maybe, director Beck is probably going to warn him because we still don't know who sent those people after him and Jesus that one time in those chapters. So I'm almost wondering if maybe that really was director Beck's, goons, and maybe she's going to use that to try to get Teha to back off. But I don't know. I mean, it's just conjecture, but I don't know. Like the whole thing is just very convoluted. I mean, there's I don't even know where to begin with this era of the story, to be honest.
It's very sloppy. I just say that it's very sloppy. There is a lot of inattentiveness happening. I had my own qualms with how, like, going back to what I said about if you follow the path that you've always followed, you'll get the results you always get. Trying to retrace the steps that Minchal took, it's going to be a disaster. And also, Teha already said in chapter 82 that he wanted to allow Na Hae So to make her own moves, but you have more power than her. And
Yeah.
you have way more power, way more agency, way more reach, way more resources than she does. And if you're not cluing her in on the fact that she needs to be more like, not that she needs to be more aware that she has a safety issue at this point because of you. It was a perfect time to do it. There was a perfect time to do it. After they got chased through alleyways, that was a perfect time to say,
Mhm.
"Hey, I live a dangerous life. There are people like, address the issue, but it's this like leaving it unspoken, leaving it to the last moment where like you rip the band-aid off, but you can't do that in a where there's like imminent danger, like literally imminent danger. Like this woman has no means to be able to fight back against a 190 centimeters, 6'3" bodyguard who's trained to hurt people. And
Yeah.
a bunch of men. There's a bunch of men who can push her around. She's like 3 apples high. What do you think Na Hae Soo is going to be able to do in a time of danger? Other than, yes, she could try to call for help, but that's if she's intuitive enough to know that she's being followed or in danger. She didn't
Mhm.
know she was in danger. This is already a mess. So when Friday comes and the chapter releases, it's going to be a mess because there's no way that she has the ability to like clue him in that she's in danger. And it's like relying solely on her as the alarm or the alert is just a bad idea. And it was like poor execution all around for him, who's supposed to be like this knight in shining armor. You put her in trouble. Now she's in trouble. She doesn't know she's in trouble till she's in trouble. Um,
Well, that goes back to the whole thing about how, I feel like he is like no better than Minchol at this point because essentially, he all right, how do I want to put it? Okay. So basically what I guess I'm trying to say is that, because he in his mind thinks that he is protecting her, in some ways he's still taking away her decision making power.
yep.
You know, because honestly, if she would have known that there's some shady stuff going on, then I'm sure she probably would not have gone to that interview. But because he doesn't trust her enough to think that she's going to stick around, again, he's trying to play the hero just like somebody else we know, Mitchell. So why is he different? Now, I will say that he does tend to have a lot more respect for her than what Min Shit did, but he's still not giving her the autonomy to make her own choices.
Or
And
the
he certainly,
clarity to make her own
yeah,
choices.
and
That's
and the other thing that I wanted to bring up was the fact that he's not even giving her other options. Like I remember somebody saying, like in the chapter discussion, how he could have helped her get a better job. And why didn't he do that? So, he's got all these resources, but why aren't you using this to help her? And it's not like I'm saying that he needs to give her money. If he can just get her an interview somewhere, and granted, there might be something she's not um suited for because of her skill
Mhm.
set, but I'm sure there's something that he can do to get her a better job or maybe help her get assistance with going to get more education. I mean, there's so many things that he could do to make her more independent and have a better life, but it's just all of that is going out of the window. um and
Yes.
I think we are joined by a study bunny.
Hey,
um
Hello.
bunny.
I do want to say something on this whole point. This is clearly the critical turning point of the story that we have all been waiting for. And I did sit down with my thoughts a little bit because I feel like my thoughts were not that polished as they were on Friday. Which actually prompted me to make a comment on Naver, actually basically saying my thoughts. We can all agree Taeha has been extremely sloppy up at this point. But I think this highlights a major character flaw that Taeha has, and that he's a bit overconfident that things are going to work his way. And you can attribute it to his age, probably like naivete, like with age wise, but he clearly overestimated how quickly everybody in his family was going to find out, how everyone was going to like take on doing this, and also most importantly how little power he actually had to protect Hae Soo from whatever was going to come for her. I think a separation event would be necessary for both Hae Soo and Taeha's character respectively, for Hae Soo, she hasn't had a chance to really recover on her own and to really build up that autonomy that she needed after the whole thing with Minchul happened. But with Taeha, I think he has to also learn the importance of the fact that he has to do more to protect Tae-so. What he was doing was not enough, but also he has to have his own foundation. When it comes to Taeha's placement in the Beom family, people think he has more power than he actually does. You have his brother who has the backing of the chairwoman, and he has more claim to the heir position than he does. If it wasn't for the fact that Tahi is reckless in a lot of things, and if Tahi was more like Taeha, Tahi would actually have much more of a claim to being the heir of Taesong than Taeha would. And that's because he's the oldest and he's the legitimate son. It wouldn't be so hard for Baek to actually convince Taeju that, hey, you know, your son deserves to have the heir position because look at how well he's doing. He's an overachiever, this, that, and the third. Now we all know the reason as the audience why he is not gonna get that. But the thing is that he doesn't actually have that much power. Taeha doesn't actually have any power, actually. Like, he has money and resources and stuff. But I feel like if he was to even put her in the line of sight of the Taesong at all, like, with how hostile I've seen Tahi did, Tahi went from 0 to 100 real quick. And I feel like we're just, like, not talking about, like, how asinine this boy's actions were. Like,
no, I'm right there with you. We just hadn't gotten to that part yet. I have opinions on that.
I thought, like, when I was introduced to Tahi's character, we were just introduced to playboy, reckless dude who, you know, yes, we know that he has some daddy issues. Yes, we know that he has some family issues, but we are not talking about this fact that Tahi is legitimately probably very insane because let's think about this. A legitimate person getting rejected, not going to the exhibition. You got invited to the exhibition by the person who's running to the exhibition, right? If you
and that's what I'm saying, like, because like I said, we hadn't gotten to that part yet, but that's what I was wondering because when she had that meeting with Taeju, meaning director Beck, he didn't say no, he can't go.
Right.
It's not like he forbade him, but Taeha threw a fit like a little spoiled man child because, you know, of reasons that, you know, we'll probably get into a little bit later. You know, homeboy is getting set up for a psychotic break, I feel like. But anyways,
break is not even
but the issue is it's not Taeha's fault. It's not like Taeju told him he couldn't go. You know, when we get that flashback of him talking to one of the goon squad, you know, he's mad because Taeha is going to be there. So, but what I don't understand is why did you not go? This would be the perfect opportunity for you to show up, you know, Taeha.
Spoiled brat.
Are technically the real son. You
spoiled
know?
and then stable brat. Like, that's what he is.
Exactly.
Spoiled, unstable doesn't even cover a digital girl. Like,
I called him a homicidal maniac, to be honest with you.
I sat with myself and I really had to, I put my logical thinking cap on and I'm like, he is going to put an innocent woman, right? If the bodyguard's information was not correct, imagine the bodyguard's information was not correct. Na Hae Soo was just a random woman, you know, she probably had a one-off encounter with Taeha, right? Do Hae-ji's information was wrong, right? And they were like, oh, this is the girl who the second young master is with. His idea was to put her into a prostitution ring? That's not poking the bear, that's crime! Were you okay?
No, he's not okay. He don't care about the poors. He don't care about the poors.
I know that,
and the thing about it is, I'm gonna say this because because Taeha has never been presented as a stable character.
Yeah, that's very
He's
true.
he's never
That's
been
true.
presented like we already knew that he was hyper abusive to Taeha, to the beating a actual child to the point of not near death. I'm not quite sure. We're not quite sure of it, but he's never been presented as his moral compass being anything but malicious. He said he wants to
Yeah.
kill his brother. He told his brother to his face that he was going to um, kill him like murder him like his mother was murdered. We seen him off scene saying that he wanted to cut his brother's head off. We've seen all of this stuff. He's a homicidal freaking maniac. There is nothing about Taehi that has ever like it doesn't even surprise me anymore. It impresses me how low he is willing to sink because of the fact that he's too scared to actually approach Taeju and try that pull those stunts. He thinks his brother is inferior and he want to associate it with his brother. It could go to hell as far as he's concerned because they're already in it because Taeha has something that he doesn't have and he's very aware of it. His father's minuscule icy
Mhm.
attention and that is he was going to continue to do this the whole story until something happens to him that incapacitates him from being able to have access to wealth or power. Who knows what that's going to be. I'm not shocked by Taehi. So, like, you knowing, like, Taeha knowing his brother, you know the devil. You know your brother was in a gentleman. You told Lee J that. That is your
Yeah.
responsibility now. There's no one else's responsibility but yours to make sure that Taehi stays far away from the person that you're supposed to say that you love and you want to protect. That is your responsibility. If you never walked through that flower shop door and spoke to her, she would have been safe-ish. She wouldn't have been
Yes.
safe because Min Chol is not safe either. He was 2 seconds away from being a drunk woman beater
Yes, he
along with
was.
a cheater. She was never going to be necessarily safe until Minchal was out of the picture, but you walked into the picture and with you came your baggage. And
Yep.
your baggage is
I
very dangerous.
I
And we
feel
know
like
that.
what Taeha could have done was
Tell
I
her
feel
the
like
truth when she asked.
that I feel like he should have. And here's the beautiful thing, because I really sat with it. I was thinking to myself, why did Gay do all of that? And I'm like, I think the reason why Gay was like, okay, they're not going to answer questions. It's going to be slow. It's going to be a pretty slow development for them. Is because when shit does hit the fan, and shit is hitting the fan now,
Oh yeah.
shit is hitting
Very
the
much
fan. Like
so.
nobody, I feel like by the time this Friday, we're all going to be very upset. We're going to go on hiatus most likely because we're going to be like, well, shit. But I feel like the reason why Gay did it was because she has always been more character driven. So to have the characters realize the flaws within themselves mutually. So Na Hae Soo knows her flaws and Taehan is aware of Hae Soo's flaws, but Hae Soo knows Taeha's flaws and his identity and all that stuff, and is aware of her own flaws and how they both kind of contributed into this mess. When they have to eventually reunite, if they reunite, right? Because we still have a possibility of that not happening. They would have had time to work out their own issues separately. Because Taeha has to realize that he has to do more to protect Hae Soo, but he has to be the chairman. He has to realize that he's not in any situation of power. It's not about, oh, drive Minchel away and then everything's fine. No. I think he's going to know by the end of this, I'm very confident about that, is that I put this woman into danger. It is my fault. I think that's the difference between Minchel and Taeha. And this is a difference that I kind of realized in chapter 37. Minchel doesn't show remorse when he does a bad action. He thinks that he is in the right and he keeps to that. Taeha shows remorse. And I feel like
Mhm.
that's going to be the big difference. Because if Taeha can show that remorse, and he will show that remorse, he's going to try and actively be better because that's the difference between the two. One shows
Yeah,
remorse
and
and
I
one does.
agree to that. I do. But my beef is that too little too late. Like you
Mhm.
like the thing is, and keep in mind, I'm agreeing with what you are saying. I really do.
Mhm.
But my rebuttal to that, for lack of a better way to put it, is this.
Mhm.
For so long he wanted her to take an interest in him. When she
Mhm.
finally did, and when she finally got the courage to ask,
Mhm.
about his job,
Mhm.
what did he do?
A
He
regular
just
job.
yeah,
That's all he
he
said.
was not upfront, and that to me, that's almost like a Minchall answer. Like as of right now, at this
Mhm.
point of the story, he is
Mhm.
just a slightly greener flag than Minchall because he's
Taeha's
not
never been a
being.
green flag though. Or
Well,
was
I
he?
know. Well, true, but what my point is that Taeha is definitely the lesser of the evils, but
Mhm.
he was not honest with her. And I think that this is going to be, the kick in the ass that he needs.
Of course.
Because we already know what's going to happen. He's going to get super emo. And to be honest, he kind of deserves it for what he has put her through unnecessarily, I might add. So if
Mhm.
he wants to lay on a couch with a bunch of alcohol bottles, that's on you, mister. And my beautiful flowers. Do not hate Auntie for
You can't
my
hate
hot
on.
take.
No, that's not your
But
hot take is what everyone is feeling right now because I was just like I said to myself, like back at chapter 36, I'm like, shit's gonna happen. You are going to be depressed. You're gonna be like, Hazel's gonna be like, oh my gosh, why did I do something that stupid? And I'm just gonna be
yeah,
like, as long as you two grow from it, I don't care. You two need something catastrophic at this point. Cause I was like, there's no way that I love them to bits though. I love these two to
oh,
bits though.
totally,
I
totally.
love
Like
them to bits.
I love
I
their
think
dynamic,
I
but I agree that they both need growth away from each other.
yes.
And I also agree that this is most likely going to be the catalyst because honestly, like after what she's gone through, and
Mm-hmm.
I hope that she makes it out with as less trauma as possible. you
Mm-hmm.
know but I know that this is going to affect her for a while and she's going to
Yeah.
be feel betrayed and she has every right to feel betrayed.
Yep.
And I
Mm-hmm.
think this is going to be an important lesson, and I will say that because Taeha does learn from his mistakes, I think that is what's going to salvage is the fact that and I agree with you when you say that he's going to show like true remorse. And I agree with that. And I think he
Mm-hmm.
will grow from it. But I think it's going to be something painful for him to do because I'm
And
not going to say he's never had this happen before, but I feel like this is going to be his first time that he's really disappointed someone that matters to him. And I feel like that's going to hit him harder than what it should due to his lack of relationships, if that makes sense.
and that's
Yep.
needed. That's needed because the thing was is that Hazel and Teha finally accomplished, and mind me for using psychology, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? They finally completed their psychological needs. Their safety needs have been met. So when their safety needs were met, then the love and belonging had to be, it was next. And they completed that, so they got sloppy. Both of them got sloppy. Because the thing is that we have said in many discussions before that Hazel is actually a very resourceful person. Now, the issue is that yes, she did ask. However, I feel like on Hazel's side, she should have been more persistent, right? Now, I can also understand the reason why she's not persistent is because of Minchol. However, it's been 3 months. She also recognizes that Taeha is willing to tell her whatever she needs to hear, right? She's also aware about how Taeha's communication style is, right? I don't know if I'm in the wrong for saying that, but obviously the person who fucked up the most is Taeha. I just hope to God, honestly, that Gay doesn't cross any lines. Um, my girl got to get out of there safely. I'm hoping it's with a new job by fire by force. I don't know what this author is planning on doing. I'm hoping we can get something because while I'm scared, I'm happy we're moving forward. That's all I'm gonna say. I hope we're
Yeah.
not in a loop. I really do. But that's the big thing. I'm just like, oh boy. But I hope it's actually something that it's like this is where we're at in the story, and we're going to feel the consequences, and we're gonna have a break and be in a corner because c'est la vie, right? I don't know. I
I,
Yeah.
don't
s- I certainly don't. I certainly don't hope for Na Hae Soo to experience any more trauma than she
Yeah, that's what.
necessarily.
Yeah.
I
Same.
don't want to see that. It makes me really sad because she always experiences the collateral damages of men's poor decisions. Her father,
Exactly.
Min Chol,
Yep.
I don't and Taeha. And actually, you know what? You know how like Taeha got my vitriol real hard. He knew he fucked up because even
Mhm.
at the actual exhibition, he was like, "Why do I have such a bad feeling?" Because, sir, you left the person that you had spent
Claim to love.
claimed to love and spent most of your adult years protecting. You left her vulnerable
Mhm.
after you've increased the danger by another 200%. So like
Mhm.
danger that she could experience tripled, and you left her vulnerable with the one form of security with you talking about meet some rich women and then leave and go
Mhm.
find nice. Oh, are
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
wild? Are you drunk? Sir, this is a
I mean,
Wendy's. Get it together. Like, sir, get it together. And there's a lot I can say about Nahe So's communication style, but if you we're going to be realistic here. Let's be very realistic. She's
Mhm.
po. She grew up po. Her whole life has been in poverty. She
yes.
ain't thinking about nobody's table, dr- the corporate dynasty
Mhm.
style drama
Yes.
Mhm.
or
Uh-huh.
having a yakuza boyfriend. That's outside of the realm of her even possibility. That's outside of
Mhm.
the realm of her contemplation. She always has treated herself as an NPC, which is to her own detriment at this point. But
Yes.
she
Mhm.
never would have thought that Taeha is where he's at. And he's also, let's be real, he's portrayed himself and made misleading statements that can make her think that he does not come from an affluent background, although like he set the scene that he doesn't come from an affluent background, right? He comes from a
Mhm.
troubled family. He had those shoes on. He put those shoes on, those his classmates sneakers on purpose because he didn't want her
Mhm.
to see the Hermes sneakers, right? So he
Mhm.
wore a certain wardrobe, talked about life a certain way without blatantly saying that he's poor. So he portrayed himself a certain way. And of course she didn't ask too many questions because she's been conditioned not to to pry too much because of her relationship
Exactly.
before. And she wanted
Mhm.
to, but who would ever think that she would be talking to a rich guy with like a dynasty era like family battle? Who would know that?
Mhm.
He didn't have to tell her everything. And I've say this a million times. If he wasn't ready to like pour his whole background out to her, he could have just said something after chapters like 75 about the following, the fact that he's getting followed by people.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
That's it. Like, oh, you know what? People know what you look like now. I got followed. I want you to be really diligent about what you like people following you and or trying to like convince you you might be approached by weirdos. It's
And
really not that
and
hard.
that's the bare minimum.
Bare minimum.
Like that is the bare minimum. I mean, and that's what like gets me about this whole thing, like what's troubling is, as troubling as that is, what's even more troubling to me is the fact that no one recognizes, you know, how unstable like Taehi has become. And I feel
Mhm.
like this is going to be a big plot point. I mean, it's pretty obvious. I mean, I know I'm stating stuff that people, don't really already know.
Mhm.
But the thing is that this man is now out for blood. He is headed towards a psychotic break. Here this man needs like mental health treatment, like legit, no joke. And the fact is that nobody recognizes this, you
Mhm.
know, and when you have somebody who is that unstable,
Mhm.
running around with impunity, like shit is going to happen and it's not going to be good. It's not going to be nice. I mean, I feel like, the Bohm family is going to be feeling this for a very long time if
Mhm.
somebody doesn't step up and say something. And honestly, like I'm surprised like none of his goon squad has really mentioned anything to anybody. I mean, I am and I'm not. But they got to know
Well, they
that this
can't.
man is
So
is
they
headed
can't
towards a
say anything.
psychotic break.
They can't, Auntie Laura. They can't say anything though. Like that's your job. Like Lee J even stated a couple times though that like he has a lax relationship. Like if you have someone that uptight, right, around you who's like willing to snap at any moment, and you know they can, like, they have a penchant for violence. Like the reason why Lee J doesn't like openly question more about Taeha is because he knows Taeha's insane. So imagine working with Tahi. Like the guys are probably like, this man is nuts. And that's like money right there. That's their job. That's their livelihoods. They can't say anything. And if you know that there's a possible chance that you're gonna die, didn't say anything either. So it's like the only person who can really say like you fucked up bad is Taeju. And I feel
Yep.
like that's, and I feel like once Tahi hears it from Taeju, it's like, I was going to give you so much opportunity. Why did you do something like this? You turned to the name. You're never getting it back. He will never be able to forgive himself. His mind is gonna go, like, he's gonna get a very sad ending.
He's already snapped.
Uh,
Mhm.
He's
It's
already
gone.
snapped. He is
I don't know why I feel like
already
he hasn't truly snapped yet, because it's like he's saying to himself like, "Oh yeah, we're all in the fine, like it's okay, like we're not involved in this anymore."
so what this is denial,
Oh
obviously.
yeah,
He's
it is.
also trying to disassociate what he's doing. And like I've watched enough true crime to know what he's doing. What he's doing is he's trying to distance himself as much as possible, so he has plausible deniability, and
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
two, he's lying to himself to make himself feel less shitty about what he's doing. Because
Mhm.
honestly, you know, and another thing that I wonder too is I really wonder how much Teju knows about his son's business. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
wondering if he's aware of his activities with possible prostitution. Because the thing is that there's still a lot about the Baum family that we don't know. We know that they're into some, we know that they may be into some shady shit, but we don't know the extent. So how would that blow over, or how would they like a scandal to come out with him being the head of a prostitution ring? You know, and that's why I wonder, like, if anybody in this family knows what anybody is doing. And apparently the answer is no. And to me that is very troubling. And what I also find like shocking to me is that director Beck claims to love her son, right? But
Mm-hmm.
she hasn't seen him in like 2 years. Like how could you go 2 years without seeing your son who you claim to love? And granted, he lives in another country, but it's not like you're broke. It's not like you can't afford to fly to the States. So, what is it that is keeping you from taking care of your son? And to be
Mm-hmm.
honest, I think a lot of Tahi's problems is the lack of interest from his family. And that is
Yeah.
very, very obvious. And because you have someone who is being triggered like 50 ways till Sunday, he's not medicated, he has no coping skills.
Mm-hmm.
It's no wonder that this man is snapping, and it's going to get worse. And it
Sex
really
and
makes me,
cigarettes?
well, I mean, it's more than that. I mean, if you look
Yeah.
at him, like he's completely detached.
Yeah.
So and it's not just sex and cigarettes anymore. He's fucking with somebody's life, like legit.
Yes.
Like he just said, oh, tell him to have fun, but not to really hurt her. And oh, all I'm doing, and to me it sounds like he's trying to justify some of what he's doing more to himself than anybody else. Because
Yeah.
otherwise, why would you go to the trouble of being like, oh, well, we're just helping someone. Yeah, that's what we're doing. It's not my fault
Right.
that, she walked in and this happened. So to me, this tells me that he is very mentally unstable.
Yep.
He's already showing the signs of a break. And, and it just like I don't know, it just appalls me. The fact that nobody in his family knows how bad he is. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's like they're just kind of denying, that anybody has any problems. And like honestly, like I know I have seen this before in my personal life, and I have seen what happens when people look the other way to someone who has mental health issues, and it is not good. It is not good. And in some ways, I almost feel bad for Taeha because he has no one in his corner. Even though supposedly his mother loves him, if she really loved him, she would take more of an interest in his life and try to get them the help that he needs. And I'm sorry, I know I got down or got on a soapbox, but I have feelings about mental illness, and it just, I don't know. I think people don't take it seriously enough, and then stuff
Mm-hmm.
happens, and then everybody's like, shoulda, what
Well,
could have we done? And
there's a
so
level of taboo that goes around that too, like
yeah, especially
you
in the
Mm-hmm.
don't
Table family.
you can't have a mentally ill heir. Um
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, but let's be real here. He's not a child. He is 28
Yeah,
now.
he's 28.
And yeah, he's 28. And I said this from the very beginning, from what chapter, what, 24, 25, when he touched down.
Yeah.
And he didn't even mention his mother. He didn't mention his mother, right?
Mm-mm.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "How's the chairman? Oh, I know he's gonna live a long life. How's my brother?" And he was like, "Oh, I hope he's," basically was told he was dead. And he's like, "He's not dead." Didn't ask about his mother. Had not
Yep.
seen his mother in person for months. And he
Yep.
was in Seoul, Korea, till she had summoned him to tell him she wanted him to go to the exhibition. He had
Yep.
not seen his mother. That is a choice.
Yes, it
Mind you,
is.
she had already gone to Taeju to ask if her son could go to the exhibition. So she had already, went to bat with Taeju toe to toe, which people are scared to do, so she could make sure that her progeny could go to this very highly publicized event and represent the family. And he hadn't seen her in months. So he doesn't know, but I'm not quite sure that she knows what he's up to when he's out of her sight. But I know
Mm-hmm.
Taeju knows. The only person who
Mm-hmm.
really actually knows is Taeju, because he keeps it all under wraps.
Mm-hmm. What do you
Yeah,
guys
and
think
I think
Teju is
that's
going
what's
to
gonna bite him.
do? What do you guys think Teju is going to do when he finds out what Tahi has done?
He's going
Because
to summon them. It's time to
Yeah.
summon everybody. Everybody's going to get whacked.
Yeah.
because
I've been
it's not
thinking about that.
because it's not even about a oh like he knows. I feel like the only person who's really aware because Taeha also is mentally unstable. Taeha is
Hmm.
not okay. Like
Not at
the
all.
only reason why he's okay right now is because HAE SOO's okay. Like he is not okay. Like his like the flashbacks we got of him when in chapter 36 he was like he was just apathy, like emotional apathy, like to say he doesn't understand like relationships and like emotions because he got it beaten out of him. And then that little flashback we got in like I can't remember with Tahi and saying like all of a sudden he acts wild, and it's just like so you're doing he's gonna go this boy's gonna go on a rampage. He's gonna get summoned by the chairman. He's gonna be like, I don't give a shit no more. I did everything I could and you touched the one person I didn't want y'all to touch, because I feel like that's also the reason why Taeha wanted to keep it under wraps. He clearly doesn't like his family. Like, we know
Yeah.
from chapter 21, he does not like his family, and it's not even that he doesn't like his family. He doesn't like the fact that his family probably knows about HAE SOO, and he probably didn't plan for that. Because I think a lot of people assume that Taeha was like 70 steps ahead. I think he's running out of
Mhm.
steps. He's out of
Yeah,
steps right
I
now.
think
He's
so
out of
too.
steps. He's out of steps. He actually
Mm-hmm.
doesn't know what to do, because he knew that Taeju found out, but he didn't act on anything because he actually doesn't know what Teju's going to do now that he knows. He has no idea.
Yeah.
No one can read the chairman. He said it back in chapter 77. I can't read the chairman. He knows that his father is aware of the relationship. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't actually know what Tahi is going to do. All he knows is that he's not gentlemanly. We can infer that Tahi is, obviously, we can tell now that he's not mentally stable at all, but it's clear that his reactions can go from one extreme to another. He can do one thing to another, because we're talking about the same man who was dissatisfied that, like, there was a new kid, right, in the relationship from an affair. So he was like, I'm going to beat the shit out of this kid every single day and possibly cut his arm, because we still are going to find out what is going on with his toe tattoo and his scar.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think he did Taeha did that on his own. He looked too young, and if he did, he was done. Like, he was beaten. Every single flashback I'm seeing of this little boy, he's not clean or happy. He's messy with the same clothes too. He's wearing the same pair of shorts and then like a little 1-2 change. Ah.
And that's what I'm saying though. Like all the adults, like the adults in this family have failed as
Mm-hmm.
adults.
Yep.
You know, they
Mm-hmm.
have failed both Taehi and Taeha. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
so it's not like, they, because children are only as good as the instruction that they're given by the adults. And
Mm-hmm.
that just goes to prove my point of how, the adults don't care. The family doesn't care.
Mm-hmm.
They knew as soon as Taehi started acting out that this boy has problems, and they
Mm-hmm.
chose to do nothing. And that is on them. That, whatever blood that he spills, it is going to be on the Baum family's hands. And the same
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
is can be said of Taeha. They did not take it seriously, cuz I've seen this type of shit before. You know, where they just chalk it up to like, oh, boys being boys, kids being kids.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's wrong. All they need to do is just grow out of it. It's a phase. Nothing's going on, nothing to see here. And honestly, like that shit makes me mad for a lot of reasons. I mean, because I won't go so far as to say I've lived it, but I have experience, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've seen like other people and I've seen family, go through this type of thing where, they need help, but nobody's paying attention. And the thing
Mm-hmm.
is that the person that needs the help doesn't know that they need help.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you help someone that doesn't know they need help? And that is the failing on the Bohm family right there. This is their fault that shit is about to get real. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't, and the shame of it is I don't even think they know it.
Nope.
Or if they do, they're not doing anything, which is even worse.
Because they don't
Yep.
think anything is gonna happen out of this. Like, that is like a testimony to the fact that they are assuming that everything is gonna be okay. I think also Teju is a bit confident that even no matter what's gonna happen, he's still gonna have the power. I even think like this whole air thing is like he doesn't even wanna like truly move on the company. He just wants a puppet. I don't think that man actually wants to truly give up power. Because the minute we actually get inside this man's head, we're not gonna like what's in his head. I don't
Oh
No.
think
no.
we're not gonna like it. I think it's not even like we're all like, oh, we're not gonna like it. I think we're all gonna actually actively be like, you are a disgusting person. Like, oh my god, no, thank you. Like, that's gonna be everybody's reaction. My only prayer is that if anything, the only solution is that once we get Taeha's backstory, and I feel like that's going to be sometime in the, like soon in the new year, um, we are going to probably find out it's going to be in the benefit of the Beom family, if they even want to keep going, that it's going to move from Taeju's hands to Taeha's hands. But I feel like that is going to be one bloody transition. Like
Yeah,
it's going to be a
There
bloody
will be
transition.
blood.
I
yeah,
Yes.
there
I
will
don't think
be.
I don't think I like, because I thought about it. Tahi, it looks like he's gonna off himself. That is like my prediction about how his character is gonna end. Taeju is a different story though, because I literally do not know how Taeju is gonna actually handle all of this, because this is a crucial turning point in the story. I do hope like we get things fast. I feel like it's gonna get darker than it already is. That cover was ominous as hell,
Yeah, it really
and
was.
I was just like, okay, like I feel like now the gloves are off, but I'm like, it's Christmas, so it's like, shoot, we're actually so close to a hiatus. I can actually taste it. But mm.
I think the
Anyway.
crime series panels is going to be the ending crime series panel where you see Na Hae Soo and Taeha in the car together
Mhm,
driving away. I think that's
mhm.
what's going to happen with them actually like locked together with the handcuffs. I
I don't
honestly
think
think that I think they're going to get summoned by to stand before the Ice King,
mhm.
the King
Yeah,
and
I
the
could
White
easily see
Walkers.
that.
But I wonder though, like, I don't think Teja's gonna like, because people on Naver were saying like they don't want a situation where, oh, Jesus is damsel in distress and then she's gonna get saved by Teja just in the nick of time. I don't think Teja's gonna actually save her in the nick of time. If anybody, it will probably be Lee J, but she has every right though, because it is needed for both of their characters, that she is going to be like, I don't want to talk to you, my dude. I don't want to even look at you, speak it with you, all of this.
Yeah, and
So it's
honestly, I would not blame her
Not
because
a
if
bit.
somebody would do that to me, ooh, I mean, I don't really carry grudges. Like my mother, like she will carry a grudge, and I'm usually the one that will just be like, okay, let it go. In 5 years from now, this is not really going to matter. But let me tell you, if somebody put me in that position or knew that I was going to be potentially in danger and did not tell me, I
Mhm.
mean, my redneck will come out. I mean, I'm being legit serious. Like I am my mother's daughter. I will say that that is one thing that I am very grateful for is that my mother, taught me never to let any man, lay hands on you. If they try to attack you, you go down swinging, and I think that's why, like, I get fierce about certain topics just because
Mhm.
of, like, my mom. And honestly, I am forever grateful that she raised me to be that way, especially in today's age, with all the bullshit that's going on politically.
Mhm.
But anyways, I digress. But I know if that were me, I would be pissed. And I think I would probably smack his fucking face. I mean, as hot as I think he is, I would smack him in the face. I would
I
be
think,
like, how
yeah.
fucking dare you?
Like, why wouldn't you have told me that at least this much? That's it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, that's really it. I'm not like I'm a die on that hill. Like, there's nothing. I don't care how mysterious you are. You could at least tell me that Truck Coon is coming to roll me over, so I can at least look out for trucks.
Well,
Exactly.
now, how am I going to say this? Well, now I can say that this is why, kids, you do not keep secrets, because shit happens. And I
Yep.
love the fact that the author is
Mhm.
like, well, look at you now. You're both fucked up and you're in this situation, even though I'm the author and I put you in it. But they needed it.
Yeah.
Like, they needed it. Like, how are these two characters objectively, if we're looking at this in a literary perspective, how can both of these characters grow? The author was showing us loops and loops and loops and loops again, because they didn't have an event where their recklessness, in a way, both Heiso and Teha, did not come with a consequence. now there is a consequence for both of them that they need to grow. We had that hint in chapter 71. Then all of a sudden things were working out really good, right? We had that, and I noticed, I was like, oh wow, they're communicating, everything's fine, it looks like they're in the thing. Boom, Taeha finds out that he's not going into the exhibition, and it starts happening like clockwork. He gets people to, get her lured into a trap, gets the motel lady. The following chapter, here we are. And I think that's where the pacing came up, because when I thought about it, I was like, okay, I think the reason why Gay did not allow the 50s to be when Minchul found out is because, okay, he's going to be fine, dismissing Minchul out, right? Because he doesn't know enough about HAE SOO to get her back anyway. They'll do one more loop, and that's what they did. And then shit hit the fan because they couldn't keep on going. They couldn't keep on going the way they were going. And it's like, now we both have these two characters who they recognize they love each other, but they also need to recognize that they're not ready yet for what is for them. So is their love for each other going to be enough? Is their obsession for each other going to be enough to ensure that they are going to be able to get through this? And are they going to go through that maturity? Because yes, you can be 33 years old, but HAE SOO hasn't had that much time in her life to be able to go through that social maturity. Because if we are having the ending that we want to have, HAE SOO needs to have the personality of someone who's going to be the wife of the chairman. So she has to be able to stand on her own 2 feet just the same, with her own veracity. And she's going to have it with this arc. So I'm excited
No,
for
I agree. I definitely agree to that. You know, I mean, I also kind of feel like, another thing that people are missing is the fact that, you know, I think people need to realize that, our characters aren't perfect, you
Mhm.
know. And I think, and I know we could always say coulda, shoulda, woulda, or like whatever, but honestly, like you can't, and I know somebody else said this on the chapter discussion
Mhm.
from last week, and I know, I think all of us have, probably said this at some point, but the thing is that you cannot, grow without conflict or
Mhm.
failure. Because
Mhm.
if everything goes great 100% of the time, then it would just be a boring story. You
Mhm.
have to have conflict. And I think
Mhm.
that Gay Nim has done a masterful job of, putting this tension together. Because I have noticed that, there have been some folks on the server who have been saying that they felt the plot was stalled, and some of the people that mentioned this actually really surprised me, because I was like, really? And I mean, I guess in a way I could maybe see it, but
Mhm.
I mean, honestly, like I think we needed that slow build up. And
Yeah.
I know we've kind of talked about this before where,
Mhm.
if you rush through the plot, then, it's like you get the payoff quicker, but it's not as great. So
Because then you'll look back
I,
and you're like, oh, like this doesn't feel right, right? It doesn't feel like this
yeah,
is the time, because now that we kind of already see, like, what is it called? We now know their mistakes. We can easily infer their mistakes. We see that the reason why they couldn't keep on going the way they were going wasn't going to work out. I feel like that's all
Mhm.
this what they've been doing is going to come bite us in the ass later. Lord Jesus. There's like
Yep.
I have several events that I know that if I make an announcement on the server and I'm like, it happened, people are gonna be like, "What the fuck did you just say?" And I'm gonna be like, "It happened, guys. I can't say anything
oh
further."
yeah. I
I
mean,
think
our server, I really thought our server was gonna implode, like this
well,
past
well,
Really?
Friday. I
Really?
it
really did.
will
I was surprised
still.
that it didn't, but yeah.
It's
We had
we're getting into the season of it happened, because like there's a
Yeah.
lot that's happening,
mm-hmm.
and I don't think it's going to slow down, because there's only like the once you actually light the stick of dynamite, it's
Oh,
just gonna it's just gonna blow at some point,
Mhm.
right? The fuse is like burns down and it's gonna blow up. And once it blows up, there's a lot of like knock-on effects. Like right now,
Mhm.
the all of Teja's machinations, basically
Mhm.
the fuse that he lit for that is about to blow up in his face.
It already did, technically.
Yep,
Technically,
Yeah.
like, it happened. Now
he
next
did.
chapter, we're actually
Yeah,
going to be seeing, the whole, like, what is Lee J gonna do? Because he's gonna have to tell Taeha, like, she's not at home. Like, she's not there. Like, I actually don't know, because we've had the thing, everyone's, like, hoping the worst is not going to happen. Hey, so I hope as well. I don't think Gay's going to cross that line, because she's aware that if she crosses that line, you know, people are going to be pissed, and a lot of people are going to drop the story. And I'll probably drop the story as well. I can't handle that. But at the same time, because Hazel's gone through enough, and I think Gay's also really aware of that, I feel like, I think, and I know this for sure, and I hope my hunch is correct. These guys, like the boys that belong to Tahi, they truly belong to Taeju. So because Tahi doesn't have that much power in comparison to the chairman. The chairman has the most amount of power because everybody in this family. So, right? Because if they already know what's the whole up and up going on with Taeha and this mysterious woman, quote unquote, right? Because how was he? He was able to find out about what Tahi's business was on the other side of America. You know, like, I feel like they're going to tell the chairman, and then the chairman is gonna, you know, mm,
I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's gonna be a situation for sure, but
we're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see for sure. We're gonna have to see for sure, because I'm kind of interested, but I'm scared. I'm low key kind of
yeah,
scared. I'm low key kind of scared because I'm
I'm
like, I hope nothing
yeah.
bad happens. I can't tolerate that low key. Like, I'm like, low key, guys, I can't do it. I can't tolerate all that. But I'm just like, you know what?
I'm
I'm
just gonna
happy.
we just gotta cross our fingers, pray a little bit, and hope that they like make her change her clothes and scare her a little bit and nothing else. That's all I
Yeah,
got.
Because
that's what
she's
Cause
just
I'm
an
really hoping
innocent
for.
woman. I don't think I don't know how insane this author actually is. Like, I didn't know he was a pimp, guys. I didn't have it in my bingo card.
I don't
that's the
think anybody
gigolo.
did, really.
He's a
I could
pimp.
see it. I'm not like shocked by him having seedy dealings with human trafficking or sex ring because of the way that he moves with women and the level of like seediness around his association with women. It doesn't seem right. It never did seem right. So I'm not
Yeah,
surprised.
Is it just me though?
yeah,
Now that this has, like, this little, like, has opened up with Tahi though, the whole incident of him in chapter 44 just feels much more grosser to me, because I was like, why would he think that having sex with a random woman would get insight into his brother? And I'm like, why would you just call up this random showgirl? And I'm like, that's probably one of his workers. I'm like, I don't even know what to call it, workers, or oh my god. I'm
I
like,
mean,
geez, yeah.
at this point, I don't even know if it really matters, to be honest.
I feel bad for
Because I
her.
mean, it looks like I mean, I do too. It looks like she was enjoying herself, but
I know.
and I want to say that for somebody like Taehi, and it feels gross just saying this, but I think it's probably easy for him to get women just because of his good looks. So I don't think he has to coerce anyone into, doing the deed. Um, which I guess is a blessing, question mark.
Mhm.
Because at least they're consenting. Um,
Mm,
although why you would ask some random chick you're banging about your brother while you're banging,
Mid
I
coitus.
yeah, like I just
That's
I
weird.
don't know. To me that's weird. That's why I think Homeboy is like headed, for a psychotic break if he isn't already there.
mm,
I feel like things are gonna end badly for Taehi. you know.
It's
Yeah.
gonna go badly for everybody at this rate, because
I mean,
I'm just,
especially for him,
I
you know.
know. Thank God.
Because I can see it in my mind's eye, like, how this is gonna go, you know? Not that
Mm,
I'm not as good at making predictions as, like, what you are, Study Bunny, but I feel like just because of my own personal experiences, I feel like I can, kinda see how this is gonna go. Like, he's first they're gonna judge him for what happened, and the fact that they consider him to be weak. Then they're going to try to do different things to help him, and I say help in air quotes. I think they're going to be hypercritical of everything he does, in the um, sense that they're trying to help him, again in air quotes. And I feel like this is just going to push him further, and I think it's just going to make him act out even worse. I mean, I hope it doesn't happen,
mhm.
but like I said, I feel like I can kind of see what's coming. So hopefully I'm wrong.
Well,
um, but
you know, the thing about it is that like that perceived his perception of inferiority when viewing his father and Taeha, that's not going to be solved at all. It's not gonna get
no,
solved.
it really
There's no
isn't.
resolution. That, like, that even with intense therapy, that probably still linger. I don't think he's going to get that kind of redemption arc where he's like, "Oh, you know what? I always wanted to kill my younger brother ever since he walked in the house, and now I'm healed." So I don't think I think it's gonna be a
Everyone
very
thought
harsh timeline. This could
everybody
be
thought that there was going to be redemption and people are going to have their comeuppance engaged. Just like, who said there was going to be redemption in this story? I beg. There's no
uh,
redemption.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't think
kind of
Some people
feeling
gotta
like
irredeemable.
die.
there is going to be no redemption. I
Some
feel
people
like
gotta
whatever.
die.
Some people are irredeemable, and
Yeah, they
that's
really
just
are.
is what it is, right?
It
And
is what it is.
he's moving in a way that is irredeemable. Um, I don't expect some solid upswing from him. I think there will be bloodshed. I think there's going to be a lot of angst and a lot of strife. And I do think one thing is I'm not quite sure if Taehi is in his house or not. I don't know where he's at. It looks weird. He's in a red room and there's red bulbs all over that brothel looking place. And if
Mm.
he is in that building and confronts Haso, I'm going to hallelujah it. I just want to let you know.
No,
I think we're all going to lose it, to be
the neighbor
honest.
fans, I went through all the comments, and the neighbor fans were just like, "Author, if you do this, we are dropped." Like, people were like, "Do not, whatever you're thinking of doing, don't." Like, people are like,
I,
"Don't do sex crimes. Like, don't do any sex crimes now. Like, we don't want that. We want her to be okay." And everyone's like, "We're like," they literally dropped it because they were like, "We see where this is going. You're not gonna pull that. You're not gonna pull that with her. Like, don't do it. Like,
she
she's been
does
through
not
enough."
deserve, not that anyone deserves it, but this woman has
Yeah.
been through so much strife. Can she catch
Yes.
a break? Can we get like, yes, mid trafficking, can we like not have her be assaulted like Min Charles Vision? I don't want Min Charles Vision to actually happen.
No, he was
Okay?
just.
Yeah.
I feel like Mitchell was going through like a
I
semi mental breakdown.
I
It's a black
know, but I
fantasy.
don't want that. I don't want that to actually come to fruition. Is what I'm
I
saying.
don't think it's gonna
Because
come to
actually,
fruition.
but Taehi is actually. It's that if you just removed Taeha, and put in Taehi, that could be an actual scene because that's the kind of malicious nonsense. And in those situations, in like brothels and like dens of crime and prostitution, situations like that he envisioned in his mind while he was with Ari after he did nothing to go help his wife, those things can happen. I don't want to see
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
scene
I
for real.
know. Me
Yeah.
neither. Me neither. I was just like, I don't need this. Not with my girl, please. Like, I don't need her to like. I don't think that that's what I want. Like, people are like, no. Like, people really care for Jesus Matter, and I love that because we all do.
Because
And I'm like, I don't want that. Like, I'm gonna be so upset. I'm gonna be like, I don't think I can continue this. If that's gonna
'Cause that
Yeah,
happen.
girl
at
had
that
worked so
point, you just
hard.
gotta walk away for a moment and just be like, just take a moment and take a
I'm just
deep
gonna be like,
I
I
breath.
don't
want
even.
mama to have a soft life and some safety. And he, like I said, I am putting all the responsibility at Teha's door at this point. If you are going to bring somebody into your world or bring your world to them, you are responsible for all the things that you bring with you.
But also be ready though. Like if you want to
Yeah.
Mhm.
protect them, if you
Mhm.
want to protect them, if you want to make sure everything is okay, then you are going to be fine. But I think this is also going to be an important point though. People are going to think that okay, now that they're going to have the separation event, like she's going to go back to Minchell. She's not going to go back to Minchell
Oh,
because that's
fuck
going to be
no.
a
She ain't gonna go
bigger
back to that
problem
damn
because
ginger.
she's done all of this improvement and then for her to just go back to the man who has hurt her is going to like piss everybody off, except for the Mitchell fans. But it's going to piss majority of people off because it's like we're not going to go through this and see her go back to some. That's going to be very, very, very. That's not going to be smart of Hazel because she already knows. She already knows that the relationship is over. She already knows that what Mitchell has done, and I feel like that's
Yep.
going to piss off a lot of Mitchell fans if she's not back with him. But
Oh well, it's better to be
oh,
pissed off than
Savvy,
pissed on, as my mom says.
seriously.
So,
Amen. Amen
but
to
you know
that.
what? But you know what else I wanted to talk about real quick on a lighter
Mm-hmm.
note?
Mm-hmm.
So, this Che Bowl girl, man, she's got
Amy.
some, like, yeah, she's got some cojones. I mean, homegirl just walked up and was like, "Hey, I was told to talk to you." And then Taeha is just like, "Okay." And then just goes about his way. And then she has the audacity to get mad. And it's like, girl, you didn't want to talk to him, no way. Why you getting salty? I mean, I was just like, wow. And the fact that she was just like, my dad told me to talk to you. I was like, what are
I
you?
know you know. And he's like, okay, who's this lady? All right, I know who this lady is. Okay. And then just
This.
turns around and leaves. And it's like,
Yeah. Like he
girl.
was like, who this? And she's just like, I was told to talk to you. And then
Oh
just
my
had the nerve to
gosh.
get mad. I was
Well,
like,
she
wow.
there were so many assumptions that were made with good reason because the reason why she was brought there was to be an attractive bait to attract the attention
Yes.
of the Bayom, you know,
Mhm.
siblings or children or child because they nobody knows how many children the Bayoms have.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, she was sent there to like be attractive bait. So
Mm-hmm.
she made an assumption that there was a conversation had between the Bayoms and her chairman father that they were making an introduction. So when she rolled up on Teha, she made the complete assumption that he was in the know and in cahoots with getting to know her. And he was just like, all right, lady, this is a Wendy's and walked away. And that is funny to me because he was just like, okay.
But you know what that says to me about her character, though? It really
Mm-hmm.
says to me that she has a level of conceit. Um,
Mm-hmm.
because if
Oh.
you really think about it, and I ain't trying to judge her for it, because I mean, I think everybody at some point, when they were young, thinks that, they're just the bee's knees and everybody just should be grateful to be able to hang out with you. Like, I feel like everybody feels like that low key at some point, right? But most
Mm-hmm.
of us grow out of it. And I think that because she is a chaebol heiress, I think she's also used to being around a lot of people that she probably doesn't like.
Mm-hmm.
Because some of them are the way that she did describe in the previous chapters.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I feel like there was a level of like conceit there. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that she was probably put off guard that Teha kind of put her in her place without saying a word. Because if you think about it, like she's this attractive girl, she's from a good family.
Mm-hmm.
There would be a lot of advantages to marrying into her family, obviously. And the fact that he dared to walk away from her, it just makes me feel like she thought she was going to be too good for this, but
Mhm.
then he turned it around on her, which I thought was like masterful. I mean, honestly, that's kind of on brand for Taeha, but it was secretly I was kind of happy that she got a little bit of a comeuppance. Because sometimes you need just a small slice of humble pie to make you a slightly better human being, and I think that's what she needed. So yeah, I thought it was hysterical.
He's gonna be so salty the whole rest of the exhibition, just salty. You know what, um beyond her and her when we finally get her real name, because that really
Her
hasn't
real
been
name is
said.
Amy. We got
Where
her
was
real
that
name.
said?
Temple released her real name.
It did it because it didn't show up in Naver, so I don't know about that.
It's
Um,
Amy.
I,
HAE hash N-I. Amy.
I, they don't say her name, but I digress. I might be wrong. Um, I really want to see what conversation comes between Teha and Director Vic. I
Mm.
need
Me
that
too. Me
because I
too.
need that. I want to know how that conversation is conducted. Do they go in a hallway? Is it the discreet faceless the the no mask faces that they always have because they actually can control their facial features real well?
Mhm.
Mhm.
I need to know. I need to be that. I can't wait to be the fly on the wall for their conversation.
Oh
Cause
man, you know what else though? I would
yes,
What?
love to be on the fly on the wall when she has a conversation with Taeju.
Mm.
cause that would be volatile.
Oh yeah. And honestly, I can't say that I blame her, but honestly, like, and I know we kind of discussed it before, but I mean, some of that is on Taehi. He could have
Mhm.
showed up, but he didn't. So I'm really wondering, like, how she's gonna come at him, meaning Director Beck coming at Taeju. I'm wondering, like, how hot is she gonna go in? And I'm
Mhm.
also really hoping that she doesn't try to blame Taeha.
Right.
Because I mean, I kind of feel like Director Beck knows that, Taeha's only there because his dad told him to be there. So I would hope that she would have, you know, enough presence of mind, which I think she does, not to
Mhm.
place the blame on him, but I could also see her being like a mama bear trying to stick up for her son. Um,
Mhm.
so I don't know, like I just hope that whatever conversation they have can be productive.
Yeah.
But so far the track record with the adults in this family is just shit.
Shit,
So,
This is gonna be
indeed.
a mess. We did want a mess though. We did. We were hoping
oh
that
yeah,
like, oh,
totally.
whatever is happening and what's the thing the game's leading up to is gonna be messy. Everybody's gonna know whether they like
Yeah.
it or not. Oy vey.
I can't wait till Taehi gets slapped across the face because I'm sorry. I went back to him.
He needs
Like
it.
he squanders any chance that he has
He
to
really
redeem
does.
his
He
character. Every
really, really does.
self-sabotaging idiot.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, you are 100% correct. Like, a lot of his issues would have been solved if he would have just been, like, a responsible adult.
Go to
Because, I
work.
mean, yeah, like, I mean, you get up at the fucking, crack of like 4 p.m. Not even getting to work, you're getting up at 4 p.m. because your stomach hurts, because you probably got, like, the Budweiser flu. You're hungover, you go in, the first thing you do is you side eye your brother and his secretary, and then, try to like come all up on his secretary and try to embarrass her because you're just an asshole. I mean, like there's so many things that he could have done, to better his situation, and he didn't because he thinks
Mhm.
he's entitled,
Mhm.
Yep.
and it kills me. It's like, bro, Like you could have won this competition if you would have just fucking showed up for work and just acted like an adult. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like how I mean, I guess, adulting is hard when you've had everything handed to you. So,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I digress.
Yeah. Well, and now inevitably, the person who has to bear the brunt of his resentment for him squandering his own chances is not Taehi himself. It's not Taeju. It's going to be Taeha. And we're watching the fruit of his resentment bear leaves
Mhm.
of shit as we
Yes,
speak in the chapters. It's so obnoxious. I was like, you don't have to do any of this. You could actually focus on being the highlight of events, but you
Mm-hmm.
decide to go the other way and lay on a couch and drink and smoke. That's something that the brothers are
exactly.
going to have in common a little bit. In there, they got something in common other than the DNA they got from Teju. Hmm.
Ugh.
What a wonder.
Like, grow up, man
You
up,
had
grow a pair,
choices. You had all
make
the
better
chances,
choices. Make
but
better choices.
not the that is not the modus operandi of this man, and it just bothers me. But we are almost to Friday. I know it's Tuesday, but still, we're almost to Friday.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we almost there. It'll be interesting to see like what happens and like I mean, obviously I want to make sure that Jesus going to be okay, but I'm also like really really on the edge of my seat for this conversation between Beck and Taeha.
Yeah.
So, as soon as I saw that, I was like, "Oh shit." And then it ends. I was like, "Ugh,
I
why
think
you got
that's
to
where
do this to
the
me?"
frustration is. I think they want something to start, and then they want it to like we want to see the ending of it. Like
Oh,
people
Mhm.
yes.
I think that's where
Yeah.
everyone's kind of frustrated because it's like, oh my gosh, we have this thing, and I think everyone's furious is that is the author going to actually continue it, or are we going to move on to something else? And I
Yeah.
think that's, and I can understand that because I mean, like that can get annoying because it's like this is not the first time that has happened, right? And it's like, gosh, because in 43, right, we had Taeju saying like I'm gonna call, like I'm gonna do it myself. So we are like, oh my gosh, I want to see what that's about, and then we moved on to something else we got the date episode, so I'm like, okay, like I like that event. We don't know where this author is moving at all.
No.
There's
Um,
I
no
mean, I know we
closed
can
loops.
only I mean, I know we can only make guesses, but honestly, like I'm kind of having fun with like making the guesses.
me too.
I mean, we've built a whole community around making guesses. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's doing what she's being paid, what I hope is very well to do is, to entertain us and give us a good story. But Gainem,
Yeah.
if you ever listen to this, please take care of yourself. Your fans love you, and we
Go
just want
on
you to be
break. Damn
healthy.
it. Go on break. Please. We
Oh
need to go on a
man.
hiatus.
Yeah.
You're the first author I've ever said to myself, I'm like, you need to go on a hiatus. Like you are going too many chapters. I have a few authors who are like, every 5 chapters we're gonna go on a scheduled hiatus. And I'm like, this author is not doing that. And I know people are gonna say they're disappointed. I'm like, I don't care. I don't give a shit. The one
Yeah.
chapter she literally delayed it, I was like, oh Lord. She
Yeah.
really stood. Like I was so concerned. I'm like, just I hope, guys, I know that sounds bad. I hope we get a nice big note that it's like I'm gonna be on hiatus for 2 weeks, and I'm like, you know what? I can handle that. I can handle
Yep.
it. Have a good break. Have a good break, my dear. Have a good break.
Give us a give us a nice chunky chapter and then take
Mm-hmm.
a break. Like a
Yeah.
chunky
Yeah.
chapter. I need a morbidly obese chapter. I don't care because I think that the thing is like you talked about those multiple threads happening and then not and we have to wait till they're like woven through the story and they loop
Mm-hmm.
back, but people don't really have that much patience.
Mm-hmm.
Um I think when the I don't think the panel sizes have changed, but the
Mm-hmm.
cadence of those threads. Like we got a sort of a closed loop on Minchal and Haso with the cheating. That got wrapped up to find out in 18 chapters, right? So we
Mm-hmm.
got some kind of resolution before we moved on to the next phase, but we're not
Mm-hmm.
getting that right now with the threads of happenings.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it that whole dopamine hit of actually being like, aha! is not happening for people. So they're like, hey, we're hanging on the edge of our seats trying to predict, but that becomes very fatiguing for people who don't
Mhm,
have enough patience to let the story play out. And if you're
mhm,
not like using the same cadence of the chapter, and when I say cadence of chapters, the chapters come out every week, but the amount of action that happens in the chapters differs from chapter to
mhm.
chapter.
Yes,
The
it does. Mhm.
up to
Yeah.
like in between like 38 and 39, like from 1 to 39, we got a lot of action.
Mhm,
And then we went and started going into the relationship loops and the push and pull and the not ambiguity of their relationship, and then multiple things started happening, and we haven't had any loops closed on those multiple things that like daddy knows, brother knows, Minchall knows, everybody knows, the lady down the street knows. There's a
Yeah.
stalker. Maybe he's dead. He didn't even get a closed ending. Like maybe he's dead. Maybe he's in the river. Maybe he's limping around. We don't know. So those kind of like amorphous
Well,
masses of storylines can be
mhm.
frustrating. I enjoy it, but then at the same time, I can understand how someone could be like fatigued from like waiting for a moment where they get some kind of like culmination of one of the storylines
Yes.
that's continuously happening.
Yes.
mhm,
And I will say that I have read other authors where, their stories are so big at some point it gets out of control, and then you can see later on when they try to close those loops. But I
mhm.
will say that from what I've seen of Gainem so far, because what her saving grace is, she has a relatively small amount of characters that she works with,
Yeah.
right? And
Mhm,
and I think that is to her benefit, because
mhm,
the less side characters that you have to write for, I feel
mhm,
like the better, especially when they get to chapters like these, because
mhm,
and here's the other thing too. Like I feel like, ever since the story started, we've been going up a hill, and I've always described it as like a roller coaster. But honestly, like we get dips, but honestly, I don't think we ever have really fell to the actual bottom. I think we
Nope.
get to a false bottom, if that makes sense. Like we get, over the hill of one climax, but we don't go all the way down. We go a little bit down, but then we start building back up slowly.
mhm,
So that's how I see, the way that she writes it. And I kind of like that we don't have like half a million like side characters that we have to worry about,
mhm.
because that way we can just, concentrate, mostly on the main couple. But and to be
Yeah.
fair, like, some of what I'm describing is like in like actual like novels,
Mhm.
whereas I know webtoons and comics, follow a different format, obviously.
A lot of Rogue fans have like a big cast of side characters. One of them that I'm reading right now, I can listen to like I can list like 10 side characters. The only side characters we really have is Director Big, Tahi, Ari,
Lee
and
J.
the Lee J is like one of the big ones. The barbecue worker, and like I know we're not gonna see the motel lady, and thank God for that. She is on my hit list.
Mhm.
Um,
Yes.
but
Mhm.
like it's only like the people that Hazel kind of interacted for work, and then those were it. And then when they had their closing, and then you have very side characters where they serve a plot point, they have a bit of good depth, and then that's it. There's not then they're not seen again. We haven't seen Solji, we haven't seen Howard Jong in a hot minute. There's
Good.
Mm.
I think that Hui Jong is actually going to cause trouble. She don't know how to close her mouth. I'm just
Oh,
waiting for her.
ponytail
that's
girl?
maybe to our benefit though.
Ponytail sweatshirt girl who ponytail sweatshirt at the front desk, McJudgy. I think she's going to help cause chaos too.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like, yeah, she's yeah, she's special.
She's a lot.
Oh man.
If there was ever a
Well,
hater, she would be the hater to end them all. But yes, what were you saying?
Oh no, you're
Auntie.
good. You're good. I was just gonna say she's definitely drinking that haterade in gallons.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, if you can believe it, we're coming up on 2 hours. This
As per
conversation.
usual.
Yeah, I mean, I like a lot of you. I love to yap, so But with that being said, we'll probably close out this panel discussion. But I did want to say before we do that we are going to go on a small hiatus for the holidays. We will be back just after the first of the year. From the Withered Flowers Discord server, we just want to wish everybody a happy holiday
Merry
and a happy
Christmas.
new year.
Yes.
And we wish you many prosperous wishes, and I hope your manhwa is always good, and I hope your new year is just as good. So
Happy holidays, everybody. I can't wait till the new year. See you in 2026.
oh yeah, and
Right.
actually we're coming up on our official full year of the Discord server in February, so we're hitting milestones.
Love it.
All right. Well, again, thank you all for joining us. This has been the Withered Flowers Discord server with the panel. Me, Auntie Laura, Digital Girl, and the Study Bunny. So just give a like and subscribe. And if you would like to join our Discord, the link will be in the description. So happy holidays, and we will see you after the new year. Bye.